I hacked bodyweight strength for tall, lanky people, even if you're way over 6 foot and want to become a master. Our tallest student was 6'8". I'm a little over 6 feet, and I have long legs and short arms, which is a bonus disadvantage, at least for some things. But the strength that a tall person wields doing these is exponentially greater, like a leviathan whipping its neck at a pesky dinosaur. But tall people and body weight usually don't mix, simply because of the length of the limbs, and because of that length, there's sometimes coordination, balance, and instability issues. And for the time it takes to master people, sometimes they unfortunately seek shortcuts. That's okay though, we have the secret weapon. I've got 3 secrets for you that took me a lot of blood, sweat, and tears to boil it down. First, it all boils down to leverage. Sit down on the floor and hold your legs off the ground, straight out in front of you, without bending your knees or leaning back for 60 seconds. You are experiencing leverage. Leverage is using the least amount of force to do the greatest amount of work. But the fulcrum and lever arms must be sound. The hips and core is the fulcrum here. So can you imagine how much strength it takes to do a human flag or front lever at 6+ feet tall? Roughly, it's your body weight multiplied by its length up to the leverage point. So let's say 200 pounds times 74 inches. That's 14,800 pounds of pressure. Now, that is distributed through the hips, core, shoulders, and arms, but golly, those are serious numbers. And this spans across 10 strength moves, at least for ninja strength, or movement like power moves or tumbling, which is ridiculous amounts of force. But just ninja strength, front lever row, planche push-up, one-arm pull-up, handstand push-up, front lever, back lever, human flag, one-arm meat hook, one-arm reverse flag. Imagine the one-arm reverse flag, all of your body weight on one arm, twisted backwards, crazy. Or the planche, everybody wants a planche. It's like holding dumbbells, each half what you weigh out in front of you. For a 200-pound person, that's close to 100-pound dumbbells in each hand at a 45-degree angle, not head height or anything, but 45 degrees for a few seconds. That's serious and takes way more total body strength than just working dumbbells. So increasing your leverage is critical. But how in the world do you do this? Well, subscribe so you don't miss any of the trainings all of our top students receive. There's a lot of videos already published that will help you, as well as the new ones coming soon. By the way, thanks for all of your comments, as well as the super thanks. Now, what often happens is that tall people, or really anybody for that matter, but certainly when you run into a challenge that you feel is unique to you, is to try solution after solution. Very rarely do people happen upon something that just magically clicks. But more often than not, it's sticking to a plan long term and having objective eyes to make sure it's being done correctly. Second secret, there's a systematic process. But you cannot, and I repeat, not get discouraged. Progress will seem slower, especially in areas that are weak links. Back to our sitting example. The weak link is lower core iliacus, psoas, lower rectus abdominis. But once those weak links are solid, then you're up and running. This occurs in every area too, not just core. You could tell I'm tall because my front lever and planche, for example, aren't perfect. They're hard as heck the taller you get. And personally, I enjoy spending more time on movement, skills, and combos as well. There's always a bigger picture. We also don't focus on the negative. We record the small wins that add up to the huge victories. Like, start thinking millimeters of change, like milliseconds of longer holds, 6-month training blocks, not speed, but progress and strength. Like Pacific Rim Athletics training over 5,000 Powerbatics ninjas did not just happen overnight. It's slow, steady, but strong. And it doesn't just happen online. We do it face-to-face at our facility, and we also have events around the world, with one coming up in Spain. But coaching helps tremendously, especially draw on the screen archivable video. So don't mistake DIY videos for instruction, obviously. And if you opt in, you'll get access to me and my team, more training resources, and special events and competitions. Third secret is huge, flexibility. This hack is extremely valuable, and where we'll spend most of the time. Essentially, you're working with a short lever on one side, your core, and lots of weight on the other, your limbs. Now, there are people with insanely long torsos and arms who are also tall, which is a huge advantage. That would be somebody like Pappy, who could do power moves with tons of clearance on his flares and air flares. A taller person with short arms will of necessity need to be in a more inclined position for air flares. John Jones from the UFC is also another example of long arms. I'm not a huge fan of the destruction for sport, and I value martial arts and self-defense, but he is an incredible athlete with proportion working to his favor. Another example is in gymnastics. Alexander Shatilov is a rare 6-footer Olympian gymnast, but he also has long arms, which allows him to excel in the other apparatus. Obviously, the length of arms will not do well for static holds on rings, which is why his routines consist of a more dynamic swinging look. He puts those arms and length to use. But to get to this point, one cannot be stiff as a board. Every single one of those people also have decent or above average flexibility, and it's even more of a necessity the shorter the arms. Here's why. The more wide you can get your legs, the more you can pull the weight towards the fulcrum, and the more advantage and leverage your core has. So a straddle planche is not necessarily easier. A long-armed, short-legged calisthenics guy can get to a full planche level exceedingly faster, and then they'll hop up on fingertips and stuff. Take any size 9.5 shoe wearing guy doing calisthenics. It's all the same. Go to size 12 shoes and 36 inseam, you're in for a journey, but also a ton more strength and flexibility. So let's just take the straddle planche. Instead of staying in a tuck planche forever, which you will without flexibility, build middle splits, then put your legs super wide to retract the weight. And now you're actually doing something superior than a short guy doing a full planche. Doing a full planche with no hip flexibility. You have hip flexibility, and if you did some calculations, the strength required for the straddle planche of a tall person is probably close to, equal with, or even more than a short guy's full planche. And same thing for every single other movement, strength, and skill. And that's the biggest hack I can tell you, flexibility. And it's a 2-for-1, flexibility plus massive strength and full body conditioning, a secret weapon. What often happens though, and here's the warning, is that joints are even more susceptible to overuse or incorrect training at taller heights. It's just physics. So you have your superpower of length, but also the kryptonite of joints. That's where objective, blunt, honest eyes can tell you what to increase or reduce. But you keep building brick upon brick, and then start thinking about movement and power, whether that's golf or a knockout punch or flares. The longer the limbs, the more power. But again, it's about flexibility and strength at full ranges of motion, with dynamic movement and without the risk of injury. It's like a behemoth swinging its tail like a cedar tree. Absolutely devastating power. And that's the advantage of being tall. If you put in the work and take the time, train with unrelenting consistency like a factory worker or an executive. Every day you come in, you have your time blocked off. You do your 1 to 2 hours every day of the week. You rest on the 4th week. You repeat that for 4-month blocks 3 times a year, and you amass a tremendous amount of strength, flexibility, and skill. Almost like a real superhero. A couple problems you're gonna run into. As I said, joint wear, but also mindset. Just staying positive. And don't watch channels or work with people who got it naturally, or didn't have struggles, or worked with kids like gymnastics coaches do, or they aren't also tall. Those are the worst coaches, and I'm telling you from personal experience. Learn from my mistakes. You're different and unique. We all are. I've measured athletes at our facility to see exactly the ratios. You could just start to tell after a while what's gonna come easily to somebody, what's gonna be difficult, what tweaks to use, especially when you start thinking the way I've been sharing, with that reverse engineering component. But it also takes community. Coach Morgan, a doctorate physical therapist on our team, is 5'11" and didn't start learning this stuff until late. It's possible. It's hard work, but it's possible. Matt is tall in length, also didn't start till later as well. I'm over 6 feet tall and didn't start working on a front lever until I was 35 or something. Matt Frank is 6'2", doing immaculate air flares with his long, flexible arms. Amelia is around 6 feet tall. Brendan is a 6'2" brontosaurus doing this stuff. Our tallest student was 6'8", doing windmills, hand balancing, and more. Just build brick by brick with reverse engineering and a positive community. That goes a long way. Opt in, so if Google ever crumbles like the Tower of Babel, then you can stay connected with us in the mountains of Alaska and never miss a training. Subscribe to make progress. The videos coming up are designed to help you. See you in the next video and in training soon.